In the last year, due to COVID, some people have ended up losing their sense of smell. Others, their sense of taste. But perhaps more detrimentally to our society, it seems millions worldwide have lost their sense of humor. I want to take this opportunity to help you navigate, see some of the positives in the last 13, 14 months that we've all experienced. For instance, the phrasing, we're all in this together. We constantly hear it, but what does it mean? Well, as an example, if my neighbor loses her job, I lose my internet. Now, what I mean to say is, we're all in this together. My friend actually did end up losing her sense of smell. So I help her out because we're in this together by letting her know if something's expired or spoiled. And in other instances, a lot of my friends have ended up falling a little bit upset and a bit depressed about what has gone on. So my way of helping them is to help strengthen their sense of humor and to find the light amongst the shadows. Now today I want to share those same points with you. 3 simple categories. Some of the positive things that have occurred. Second, some of the things that people have been able to accomplish due to lack of distraction. And third, finally, some of my own methods for reintegration as you venture into your own pace back into society. So first and foremost, positive outcomes. Well, being in Toastmasters, many of us know that the number one fear worldwide for years and years and years has been public speaking, but now that fear has been replaced. Now it's just public, whether there's speaking or any speaking involved. Now, I grew up and my mom would tell me that if you ever felt scared whenever presenting in front of a large audience, you could just imagine them in their underwear and that would make you feel a little bit more comfortable, albeit silly advice. But now with all the web conferencing meetings that I do in the early morning, I'm not necessarily having to imagine that people are in their underwear. It's 9:30 in the morning, none of their cameras are on. There's a good chance that most of my meetings, half the people actually are, or at least in pajamas. Now, I'm a bicycle rider in New Orleans, so the lack of traffic, the reduced traffic that happened as a result of quarantine, meant that I could ride my bike, enhance my health without constantly being terrified that at any given intersection, I would be wiped from the planet in a second. If you're a bicycle rider, you probably know what I mean. Now, in the early stages of all this, in March and April of 2020, everybody was complaining about the lack of accessibility to toilet paper. But I honestly just saw that as a built-in defense mechanism. Because if you didn't understand the importance of physical distancing, the odor alone from someone who hasn't had toilet paper in their house for 2 to 3 days made it that much easier for you to understand, I need to give this person some space. Maybe in the office environment, with so many people working from home almost immediately, you had some coworkers that maybe also had some body odor issues or didn't understand barriers even prior to COVID. Or maybe they bombarded you with drama or needs for advice around your own water cooler in your office. Well, you have been saved from those very awkward conversations and sudden departures. Now, finally, the last point of the positive outcomes is the funds that people would have had allocated for vacationing have been utilized towards home improvement. And by home improvement, it could be anything from remodeling a bathroom, making your roof stronger, or in most cases, enhancing your Wi-Fi and buying a bigger television. Home improvement could also mean increasing your subscriptions to streaming services. Now let's talk about the second category. What have I and perhaps others been able to accomplish? Well, first and foremost, let's go back to travel. Now, when you purchase a book, since you're not flying and most people haven't, when you purchase a book, you're not just opening that book long enough for the passenger beside you in the plane to fall asleep. No, you might actually read the book in its entirety. I mean, literacy is definitely increasing. Am I right? Did you know that you don't even have to know people? They don't have to be your friends or your family for you to argue with them contentiously through social media? I mean, I have learned so much in the last year. And now the huge turnout, the voting precincts could be because people are more politically charged, but it could also be because it was one of the few things open in October and November and you just wanted to see what other people looked like after 6 months. And I've been able to learn a lot on YouTube because my personal belief is that I should get out of my education what I pay for it. And if I pay nothing, I expect nothing, but maybe I'll learn something. And so what I have actually done is I have logged about roughly 40 hours watching video after video on how to avoid procrastination. Now, if I log another 10 to 15 hours, I'll definitely gather the courage to put up a shelf. Let's go into methods for reintegration. And if you've gathered nothing else from all this, maybe this will help you as you venture slowly back into society. It's hard to start conversations with a stranger. What do you say? How do you begin? What I've been doing is I've just been simply asking them a simple question. Excuse me, what day is it? Whether you're retired, unemployed, or even if you are employed but just pretending to get things done, asking a complete stranger what day is it is a valid question in today's world. If you're having any self-esteem issues, I would advise that you simply go to Walgreens or CVS. I do it because I love being reminded of what it's like to have a complete stranger ask me for my phone number and to admit that they're asking my phone number because they were checking me out. Now, if you're anything like me, you've been bombarded by calls with telemarketers. Now, while they might be calling you to extend your vehicle's warranty, you're under no obligation to say anything in agreement. But if you don't curse and you don't yell, you can practice on telemarketers for your conversation. While they're trying to get you to subscribe to something you don't want, you could spend 12 to 15 minutes venting about any of your stresses or anxieties. It's a willing, perhaps unwilling participant. And finally, a lot of people own smartwatches. I own a smartwatch. And this can be very debilitating to my self-esteem because it's constantly saying, go for a walk, go for a run, burn some calories. I would advise you go ahead and change those settings to where it congratulates you just for standing, not for a noble cause, but just actually getting out of a seat. Thank you all so much. I hope that I've enhanced your sense of humor.